The bright morning sun spilled across the streets of Brookhaven, turning every glass building into a mirror of gold. Luxury cars rolled through downtown while people hurried toward another ordinary workday, unaware that one unexpected moment would change two lives forever. At the edge of a crowded intersection, beside a gleaming silver Porsche that refused to start, stood a confident young CEO wearing an expensive business suit and a smile that hid years of loneliness. Across the street, pushing an old toolbox on a worn bicycle with his little daughter sitting behind him, walked a quiet single father who looked like he had almost nothing left except hope. Within minutes, their worlds would collide in a way neither of them could ever imagine. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, second chances, and ordinary people can perform extraordinary acts, please like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe to Heart Kindness Tales for more emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. Every morning, Rowan Mercer woke before sunrise. His tiny rented apartment was old enough that the windows rattled whenever buses passed outside, but it was the only place he and his 7-year-old daughter, Nora, could afford after life had fallen apart. Years earlier, Rowan had been one of the youngest automotive engineers at a respected performance car company. His future had looked limitless until his wife became seriously ill. He walked away from his career without hesitation to care for her. When she passed away 2 years later, the company had already replaced him, his savings had disappeared into hospital bills, and all that remained was his daughter and the promise he had whispered beside his wife's hospital bed, that Nora would never grow up believing she had been abandoned by life. Now Rowan repaired cars in a modest neighborhood garage owned by an elderly mechanic who treated him like family. The pay barely covered rent, food, and school supplies, but Rowan never complained. Every broken engine reminded him that even machines given up for dead could run again if someone understood them well enough. He believed people were no different. That same morning, Celeste Vaughn, the 34-year-old founder and CEO of Vaughn Dynamics, was racing against time. Investors from overseas had landed early, and the board expected her at a crucial meeting that could expand her company into international markets. Success surrounded her. Magazine covers praised her intelligence. Business channels celebrated her achievements. Yet the silence waiting inside her luxurious penthouse each evening always reminded her that success could fill a calendar without ever filling a heart. As she stepped into her prized Porsche, she expected another flawless day. Instead, the engine sputtered once, flashed warning lights across the dashboard, and died completely. Her assistant called roadside assistance immediately, but traffic was building and every minute mattered. Several people offered opinions without understanding the problem. Some suggested towing the car. Others simply stared, recognizing the famous CEO. Trying to hide her frustration, Celeste jokingly declared that if anyone could magically fix the Porsche within 10 minutes, she would marry them. The crowd laughed. Someone even applauded. To everyone present, it was nothing more than an impatient joke. Only Rowan didn't laugh. He had been walking Nora toward school before heading to work. He paused only because the warning lights blinking beneath the windshield looked strangely familiar. He quietly asked permission to take a quick look under the hood. The expensive suit jackets surrounding Celeste made Rowan's faded work clothes seem invisible. His hands carried tiny scars from years of rebuilding engines. Grease stained his sleeves despite careful washing. He looked nothing like the specialists people expected to work on luxury sports cars. Some bystanders smirked. One man whispered that the poor mechanic probably wanted attention. Another insisted Porsche electronics were far beyond someone like him. Rowan ignored every word. He simply opened the hood. Instead of rushing, he listened. Mechanics often said engines spoke their own language. Rowan believed that completely. He watched the electrical system, checked the battery voltage, followed several sensor connections with careful fingertips, and suddenly smiled. It wasn't the engine. It wasn't the battery. A tiny connector hidden beneath the intake assembly had worked itself loose after a previous repair. It was the kind of mistake that expensive diagnostic computers often overlooked because it appeared random. Rowan reached into his toolbox, secured the connection, reset one electrical fuse, and gently asked Celeste to start the engine again. The Porsche roared to life instantly. The crowd became silent. Then applause erupted across the sidewalk. Celeste stared at the dashboard in disbelief. Every warning light had disappeared. For the first time that morning, she looked directly at the quiet mechanic instead of his worn clothes. There was no pride in Rowan's face. No expectation of reward. Only relief that another person's difficult day had become easier. When Celeste asked how much she owed him, Rowan simply smiled and answered that kindness didn't need an invoice. He explained he only hoped someone would someday help his daughter with the same generosity if she ever needed it. Those words stayed with Celeste long after she drove away. All day, she couldn't stop thinking about the stranger who had fixed a luxury sports car in minutes yet refused payment. That evening curiosity overcame her. She quietly visited the neighborhood garage listed on Rowan's work uniform. She expected a busy repair shop. Instead she found Rowan kneeling beside an elderly customer's 20-year-old sedan, carefully explaining which repairs were truly necessary and which could wait because he knew the customer couldn't afford everything. He could have charged thousands. Instead he saved the man hundreds of dollars. Later another customer accidentally overpaid. Rowan ran outside in the rain simply to return the extra cash. Watching unnoticed from across the street, Celeste realized something that years in boardrooms had almost made her forget. Integrity was rare. Kindness was even rarer. And genuine humility could never be purchased. The next morning she surprised everyone by bringing her Porsche back to Rowan's garage. Not because it needed repairs. Because she wanted to understand the man beneath the grease-stained uniform. She noticed the framed drawing taped beside his toolbox. It showed a little girl holding hands with her father beneath a bright yellow sun. Across the page were uneven handwritten words. "My daddy can fix anything except missing mommy." Rowan quietly folded the drawing before anyone else could read it. But Celeste already had. For the first time in years, the successful CEO felt tears forming behind her eyes. Money had solved countless problems throughout her life. Yet nothing she owned could erase the pain carried so quietly by the man standing only a few feet away. She suddenly understood why he had refused payment. Some people became rich by collecting wealth. Others became rich by protecting their character. Rowan belonged to the second kind. His greatest treasure wasn't hidden inside a bank account. It was waiting every afternoon outside a small elementary school, smiling as she ran into his arms. And perhaps, without realizing it, that little family had already begun repairing something broken inside Celeste herself. If this story has touched your heart so far, take a moment to leave a comment with one word: kindness. Your support helps Heart Kindness Tales continue sharing stories that inspire hope around the world.